You're listening to TurkishSoccer.com's Turkish Football and Turkish Super League podcast. Hello, everyone. My name is Ahmet Turgut. We're back after a little injury time with Turkish Football podcast. And after my severe pain on my knee, a little bit gone, so I could talk a little better without the pain on my knee. So here I am doing a new podcast for Turkish Football and Turkish Super League. Next 15 minutes, I'll try to give you what happened since we were with you together in the week 20. As you know, we talked about previewing week 20, and week 20 played, week 21st played. Now we'll try to recap what happened in those in between, also the Turkish Cup matches, and then I will preview it for you, which week 22nd starts on Tuesday, which is today, Tuesday, and then weekend will be week 23 will start on Saturday. So again, jam-packed podcast, also jam-packed non-stop football in the Turkish Super League. As you probably heard me saying this many, many times, because let's face it, I'm telling it as it is just non-stop football in Turkish Super League. And a lot of things happening. And with that, between the cup matches and Turkish Super League matches, now to come February for Galatasaray and Fenerbahce, it will be European competition matches. So there are two teams playing on top. Other than those two, there are no chasers. We have two horse race going on in the Turkish Super League. I told you that in my last podcast. That is what's going to happen. And a team who's in crisis, I'll talk about Besiktas, even though with their legend Portuguese coach, Fernando Santos, is not helping heal the wounds for Besiktas fans. And also, after Fenerbahce opening the gap with 2 points, after these two back-to-back weekend matches played, guess what? End of week 21 with a huge score. And while Fenerbahce losing points at home, and they are at dead even again on top of the Turkish Super League. I'm talking about Fenerbahce and Galatasaray. As far as on top, there are some teams that are making some moves. The best move maker in the Turkish Super League, if you ask me right now, I'm going to name it. It is Samsunspor, without looking at the records, because they are claiming the ladders in the standings. And then this past day, on Monday, there's a team that changed coach, and they hired their former coach who brought them to Turkish Super League. Samsunspor fired Hakan Yakın and brought back the coach that brought them to the Turkish Super League, Osman Zeki Korkmaz. On Monday in Kayseri, they beat Kayseri. Now, this Samsunspor team has a very important match against the top team in Turkish Super League. Actually, second place team, Galatasaray. We'll talk about that. So, every weekend, every games, it is very important. Because right now, in 6 days, starting Tuesday, which is today, until Monday, these teams will play 2 matches. Now, there's an advantage for Istanbul teams. There's advantage for teams like Besiktas, Fenerbahce, and Galatasaray. You know why? Because they are playing against pretty much the Istanbul teams. They're not going to travel that much. So that's a plus for these teams. But the thing is, I think Besiktas has to travel in the week 23 this weekend to Sivas. I could say the lucky ones are Galatasaray and Fenerbahce. And as I talked about the Besiktas being in chaos. Yes, they are in chaos. Even though they got a new committee, but things are getting worse and worse. Whoever coaches this team, Besiktas team, it's not going to do any good this year because the players that take transfer in the beginning of the season is a trash, except couple players. Besiktas lost at home in Istanbul 4-0 against newcomer Pundit. That's a shameful for Besiktas. It is shameful for the new coach too, and it's also shameful for this new committee that came in. They better straighten their act. With Besiktas, another team, Trabzonspor, and Adana Demirspor, if you look at the standings, they can't make any moves towards those two teams that are on top of the Turkish Super Lig. Fenerbahce with 54 and Galatasaray with 54. Guess what? The third place team who's trashed by Galatasaray just this past day in Trabzon, 5-1. No one talks about Abdullah Avcı's resigning. No one talks about Trabzonspor, how bad Trabzonspor team is. They're still in third place with 37 points. And Besiktas, all this time, not doing good, being in the chaos, they are still in the fourth place with 35 points. Can you imagine if they were to win their last 3 matches back-to-back, at least they could have closed the gap a little bit on top, especially on third place. So Adana Demirspor, Antalya, one time Adana Demirspor looked like they were going to be the third place team. They're down to 6th place. And Adana Demirspor this past weekend hired former Hikmet Karaman, the coach who coached in Turkish Super Lig many teams. Hikmet Karaman is coaching Adana Demirspor. So looking at, as I said earlier, the best team is moving on the ladders from the relegation zone and danger zone. It is the Samsunspor. Samsunspor is coached by German coach Markus Gisdol. They have been winning their matches. They have very tough 2 matches coming up starting on today, and this weekend. So any team that wins their next 2 matches in 6 days, they will move up on the ladder. Any team that stalls, they will lose their places because besides 2 top teams, as I said, on top, the other teams on the bottom and the mid-level are so close to each other, playing these 2 matches in 6 days, starting Tuesday, tomorrow, which is on today, until Monday. Whoever loses points, they are going to be losing their place in the standings. The most talked about the player in the Turkish Super League so far, Icardi. He was the best name for Turkish Super League last season. This season, he started great. In the last match against Fenerbahce, he got injured December 24th. This past weekend, it was his first touch. He did not start, but he came in the second half, only like 5-10 minutes into the match. He did touch the ball, but the star of Galatasaray in this match against Trabzonspor was Zaha. Now, all that money paid to Zaha, this was the second match that we saw Zaha giving his 150% on the pitch. Zaha played this time on top by himself. It was different tactic by Okan Buruk. Kerem Aktürkoğlu scored superb goal. While Galatasaray did that a day before, just when Fenerbahce was up 2 points, head of Galatasaray, they tied at home in the Week 21 match against the team that I was talking about, Samsunspor. In this match, Fenerbahce coach İsmail Kartal made huge mistakes. You cannot take your star players when all three of them, and change it in the 78th minute. You have to trust your A team. If you want to take one, that's fine. But you cannot take your 3 stars that you paid a lot of money at the same time. That cost Fenerbahce 2 points. And also now, Galatasaray caught them after winning their match on against Trabzonspor 5-1. Yes, Trabzonspor, as I said, looked trashy. Galatasaray did not start the match that well. But the players on the pitch for Trabzonspor, including Turkish national team goalkeeper Uğurcan Çakır, how could you let that goal, the second goal, go in? You're diving? You look like an amateur diver, amateur goalkeeper when you dive for that ball. You are Turkish national team goalie. That is no. That is why, because the Trabzonspor team was the weakest link, starting from the goal, they look bad. All the 11 players. That is why Galatasaray scored 5 goals. Those 5, probably 3 of them came in the last minutes of the match. Galatasaray did not play that great. Let me tell you. Galatasaray did not play that great because Trabzonspor was bad. If you believe that Galatasaray played very good, let's see what Galatasaray is going to do this weekend in 2 matches in 6 days. Because listening to Zaha after the match, speaking English, you have to interpret his sayings correctly to the Turkish language. I think he is very uncomfortable not playing on top. Now you have Icardi that is coming back after a month almost to a team with no practice at all. We saw Icardi commercials on TV before the matches, but we did not see Icardi on the pitch for Galatasaray for about a month. I know Galatasaray fans don't like this, but you should ask this question to yourself as a fan. What is wrong? What is wrong with some of the team players? What's going on? Is there turmoil inside of Galatasaray team? Those questions should be answered by the team and also the coach. So right now, things are going good after beating Trabzonspor in Trabzon 5-1. So coming up on this Tuesday, starting Tuesday, which is today, we have very important matches. Besiktas will be at home against Adana Demirspor. And on Wednesday, we have Başakşehir will be at home against Fenerbahce. On Thursday, Galatasaray will be at home against Istanbulspor. Let's see what they will do on this. After that, week 23 will start on Saturday. There are many important matches coming up. And Galatasaray will play on Monday against Gaziantep at home. And Fenerbahce will be at home against Ankaragücü. And Besiktas will travel to Sivas. So as you can see, in 6 days, those teams will play 2 matches. It's very important for the teams on top, also on the bottom of the barrel. See you next time. Bye-bye.